Hello, it's Vic, and the new school year is upon us. The start of a new semester can be exciting, stressful, or if you're anything like me, a little bit of both. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I do at the start of every semester to get my school year off on the right foot and set up for success. As usual, I'm going to be talking about the least to the most original things, so stick around to the end of this video to find out everything that I have to say, and let's get to it. Tip number 1 is to write down any important dates into whatever calendar system that you use. I write down all the dates into my journal, which I talk about in a previous video that I'll link up in the cards, but you can use Google Calendar if that works better for you. Most of the time, you can find this information under the academic calendar section of your school's website. Also, if I get any other emails with dates that I need to take note of, such as the final date to hand in my finalized class schedule, then I will write that down in my journal as well. Something else that's really important to write down are academic deadlines of your classes, meaning that after you've selected your classes, write down all the exams and papers that are scheduled for the rest of the semester. In fact, if you actually get a chance to look at the syllabus before you pick your classes, I would highly recommend that you do this method and write down the deadlines of any exams or papers into your calendar just to see how the deliverables of different classes overlap. This is something that I do at the beginning of every semester and has really helped me avoid situations whereby I have 3 exams or 4 papers due in 1 week. Just doing that little bit of planning at the beginning of semester has really helped me save so much stress during the semester itself. And as I said, after picking your classes, be sure to write down all those deadlines and exam dates into your calendar so that you can see when things are due in advance. Number 2 is to have a daily tracking system. Most people I know already do this, but if you don't, it's important to have one place that consolidates everything that you need to do in your day or in your week so that you can just look at it in a glance. I would highly recommend Google Calendar to do this, not only because it has both desktop and mobile app, and also because it is very eye-catching and streamlined, but also because Google Calendar allows you to have different color-coded calendars to keep track of different things, and you can turn this function on and off. For example, in my own calendar, purple represents anything academic related, meaning classes or revision sessions. Red represents anything extracurricular. Yellow represents office hours, etc., etc. Tip number 3 is to put office hours into your daily tracking system. A lot of people I know who use GCal don't do this, and I think you should do this because it really helps to save time when you need to see your professors. You can have a calendar that you turn on and off depending on when you need it, but that calendar will have all your information on where the office hours are being held, what time it is, and that way you don't have to go digging around in your syllabus, wasting time whenever you want to see your professor. Tip number 4 is to have folders for each of your classes on your computer after you've decided the classes that you're taking. Once I've decided my classes, I will have a folder on my desktop for easy access that represents that semester. And within that folder, I will have a couple of other folders. One is the syllabi of all the classes that I'm taking, and I'll have a folder for each of the classes that I'm taking. Most of the time, professors at the beginning of the semester will upload any of the readings that they have for the rest of the school year, and I will just download everything and organize it into the folders for that class. This way, I can get easy access to all my readings in one place, and this reduces the chances of me procrastinating. I'm more likely to get started if I know where to find the materials that I actually need. Number 5 is to automate payments, or at least set reminders for them. Now we're going into adulting territory here, but even as college students, most of us will have some kind of monthly bill that we need to pay. If you're living off campus, it might be rent, or it might be something as simple as your Netflix or telco subscriptions. For big ticket items like rent, it's very helpful to have a direct deposit from your bank account directly to your landlord's checking account so that you don't have to worry about remembering to make that payment at the end of every month. And even for things that you can't necessarily automate, like maybe Netflix subscriptions or smaller subscriptions like these, the very least you could do is write recurring reminders in your Google Calendar at the end of every month so that you remember to make those payments. This is something that I personally do for all my smaller subscriptions. And if you're liking this, please give me a thumbs up so that you too can recommend this video to other students like ourselves. Tip number 6 is to set non-negotiables, or in other words, write yourself into your schedule. I talk about this a little bit in a previous video that I've done over here. Basically, what this is after deciding any big commitments like classes and extracurriculars and putting those into my schedule, I will write in and schedule in any other non-negotiables for me. So for me personally, what it looks like is putting in weekly meals with my closest friends. Because college life is crazy busy, and by setting aside that time every single week at the same time and same place, we know that we will see each other every single week. Of course, this is a fluid arrangement and we can always change things when anything crops up, but what we find is that having a default time and not having to rearrange a new meetup every single week really helps to save time and just maintain this semblance of routine. Some people really take this method to an extreme and set aside time for everything, including working out and sleeping, but I personally don't because I find it's a little bit too rigid for me. I've tried this before, but I just end up not following it. But if you're interested in finding out more, this method is actually called calendar blocking, and it's something that has worked for many people. So I'll link a couple of links or videos in the description below that might give you some insight on this method and you might want to check it out. Number 7 is to set goals, or at the very least, prioritize. Now, setting goals might seem strange, but personally it's really helped me focus on what matters the most to me as the semester goes on. Even if you don't set goals, it's good to write down all the commitments that you might have going into the new year, meaning academics, extracurriculars, work, whatever else that you might be doing like research, and rank them based on what's most important to you. And this is very important because it gives you some kind of direction as you go through the semester instead of just saying yes to everything. It'll be easier to make choices and decide how you want to spend your time. I talk a little bit more about prioritizing in the same video that I mentioned earlier, and it's linked up in the cards. Tip number 8 is my most important, which is to have a bucket list for your semester. It's easy to start the semester super enthusiastic and wanting to do everything, but I think we all know how it feels to lose motivation as the semester goes on. And that's why it's important to have a bucket list with fun experiences so that you can change things up and keep things interesting when life starts feeling a little bit too mundane. My personal ethos for a successful and meaningful life is not just one based on results and productivity, but also just enjoying life to your fullest, which is why I think a bucket list is so important. It's a reminder to you of all the experiences that you want to have in your school before you graduate. There are so many things that you can only do when you're in school, so be sure to do them before the time runs out. Another thing that should be said is to not treat your bucket list like another to-do list. The whole point of the bucket list is not for you to just check off boxes. The whole point is for you to just remember that there are these experiences that you can have to spice things up a little bit when life is just feeling boring. Who cares if you don't finish every single thing in your bucket list before the school year is over or even before you graduate? Like, no one is watching. So don't apply the productivity mindset to this. The whole point of it is just to remind you to enjoy life, and you can't do that when you are beating yourself up for not finishing your bucket list. Bear in mind that I do all of these things on top of my monthly bullet journaling that I talk about over here. So if you're interested, please click that video to find out more. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to stick around for more productivity and wellness related content, because I think as college students, we need to find a balance of both. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm wishing all my fellow students the most fulfilling and enriching semester.